Good afternoon. I'm very happy to see you all. I want to share with you what does through me. We have a ministry, and it's called Save to Serve Ministries. And as you probably have noticed up here, this is my dog. He's a co-director. Okay, he keeps me humble. Whenever I get beside myself, he just reminds me of that. Okay. In any case, I would like to move on with that. Okay. There he is. That's how do you say? 12 years ago almost. So he's quite gray here now. But in any case, okay. Our mission statement says that we are a faith-based ministry. Okay. And that basically means that we believe in the Almighty who helps us in our struggles. And He has given us a task to do, and that is to help those who are, for lack of a better word, disenfranchised. That's the people in prison, who've been to prison, on the streets, the homeless. Those folk who have sort of messed up in life or been messed over in life. Save to Serve, S.T.S. as we call it. Okay. It's a faith-based nonprofit ministry. We partner with the community, strengthening employment and social skills. Many of the people who come to us, okay, don't have those skills. They don't know how to get along with the boss. So first lesson they learn is how to get along with me. This is where I live, my office. It's on the corner of Logan and Union. And the things we value: mercy. A lot of people been to court and didn't find that. Grace is getting to be treated better than you think what you deserve. Compassion. And that's more than just saying you're a nice guy, giving a guy a quarter or bus token who stands on the corner or at the exits or entrance for the freeway. You know, a lot of those folk there. And finally, and most of all, integrity. We teach that let your yes be yes and your no be no. Our method, repairing the breach. Now, what I mean by breach is that many of these folks have been separated from family, friends, government, and God, and are pretty much at a hopeless situation. So we try to bring them with a living faith that says, I can do it, okay? With a little help, I can handle it. And hope. You see, without hope, okay, you may as well give up. I don't know if any of you have ever been depressed, but if you've been depressed, you just say, why even bother? Why even try? So we try to say, give them some hope. Give them something to do, okay? And the last of all, unconditional love. Now, that doesn't mean a sappy thing, okay? That doesn't mean that. It means that even when you mess up, have a model. When you mess up, fess up, then get up and keep going. And we call this prevention, despair, streets, and prison. And that's what we're about, helping those people who have in despair, out on the streets. We try to avoid the last thing, prison. Sometimes we're not able to do that, and we get them afterwards. This fellow on the, I guess it's, yeah, on your, his name is John. Okay, John is that fellow you saw earlier on the streets there. Okay, he came and he, in fact, you know, I started. He was a tenant of mine. I'm a landlord as well. He was a tenant of mine, and he's been with me ever since. And this is John today. Okay, John is a talker, and one of the things he will do, he's sort of like my dog. I don't mean it in a derogatory way. If I'm in the house, Einstein will follow me everywhere I go, okay? John, he will tell you every detail of his life. John is one of those people who, I guess you'd say, not employable. So he's been with all this time. And one of the things I like about John, he's faithful and reliable. You can count on him. In 1902, okay, I also have a prison ministry. And I visited this fellow in prison. You should see me there. And he came with us, and he learns to paint, okay? And this is him today. Now, he has had some struggles in life still, okay? But, how do you say? Once you've been incarcerated for a long, 25 years this guy was in prison, okay? Once you've been in there, okay, you sort of become indoctrinated there, and you don't have hope. You can't deal with what's on the outside. It's just difficult. You don't know. Did anybody see, what is it called? The one with the guy was in prison, Shawshank Redemption. Okay. So many people have been there a long time, and they just don't know how to cope with the outside. We try to help them do that. And how we help them do that, okay, these are some skills. Here you are. What our guys do, they do community service. Sometimes it's on our properties, most times, hopefully, on other folks' properties. Okay? They learn work skills. They learn how to paint, how to hammer, how to nail. And some of them already have those skills, and so we try to develop those abilities. So these are some of the tasks they do. I'll show you some more as well. Okay? Our guys, like, for instance, on the volunteer program, we have morning devotions starting at 8. Okay? Which is only about a half an hour. Lately, I'm teaching them to lead. So we read out of the Daily Bread or Hope or Today, okay? And we call it pontificate. And we ask them, say, okay, what does this mean to you? How does this fit in your life? And then we go out on community service projects, such as you see here, okay? And they do that for 3 hours in the morning, maybe 4, okay? They put in community service anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe 20 hours per week. And that's generally in the morning. And then in the afternoon, they're required to look for work. Those are the types of things we do. By the way, this fellow John, okay, he's in charge of the storeroom at one of our work sites. And that's come a long way. Now, this fellow up in the corner here, he's another one of those persons who was sort of a lifer, okay? In fact, you know, John, this is a different John, this is John. He helped me develop this presentation. He learned those skills of how to use PowerPoint. I couldn't have done it without him. So, that's Courtney there, right here, and that's Jerry there, learning to do stuff. I guess my hope in talking with you is that you will tell your friends, your neighbors, and perhaps yourself, okay? Our folk need opportunities to rake leaves, shovel snow, okay? Do a little touch-up painting. We are bonded. We have insurance to take care of any damage we might do. So far, we've not had to use it. Thank you. As I was telling you about John and others, okay, who've been with us a long time, our hope is this. Those who've been with us a long time, our God is, we want them to empower, we want to empower them, but to enable them to empower others, to teach others. You see, if I had to do it all by myself, okay, it would never get done. I have another fellow who is, his name is Dan, and this is his 3rd year around. Some of you I shared with that I'm 73, and God willing, I'll be here till 93. But in case not, okay, what has been put on my heart is to develop indigenous leadership. So I am teaching John and Dan and Courtney to take leadership. I have my cell phone cut off because they'd be calling me right now. What do we do now? But in any case, to empower. Why we do what we do. Michigan has more people in prison than all of its bordering states. That's pretty bad. We spend more on imprisonment than on higher education. It costs Michigan, by the way, these facts are dated a little bit. It costs Michigan taxpayers $35,000 per inmate per year. Can you imagine that? That's a lot of money. And guess what? Get for it. Within 24 months, parole period is recidivism. That's when they go back to prison for committing a crime. And I want to talk about that because, you see, our society is set up so. We talked about the mark of Cain and Ham here a minute ago, okay? These folk come with a mark on them. You may not be able to see it, but you can't find a place to live. Many places check out your records, okay? You can't find a job where to work, okay, because they don't want to hire you. So what can a person do? Commit a crime or get on drugs. Now the benefits of what we do. Lower crime rate, nurturing spiritual foundations, safer communities. I can tell you this. Yes, I can tell you this. One of our newer members found himself in possession of a camera that belonged to someone else. We found out about it, okay? He confessed. And remember I told you the motto, if you mess up, fess up, and get up. So he fessed up. Remember I talked to you about unconditional love? That's not a pat on the back and say it's okay. I was going to tell him to do it, but on his own, he said, I'm going to get it, give it back, okay? And I want to take it back myself and apologize. I applauded him. How many other folk would have done that? That's a learning thing. Now, when I was a kid, I had a similar experience. They had to take me by the back and they said, go back and you stole that pop out of that. You take it back. And I got a spanking. But anyway, so a safer community. More parents paying child support. Now that's a biggie. That's a biggie. Because so many guys go back to prison or jail because they can't get a job and they can't pay the child support. So it's a vicious cycle, a syndrome. And if you get caught in this, I should tell you how I started to do this. I used to work with a guiding light mission when we were on Commerce and I believe Weston. And this was in 1979. I started working there on, New Year's Eve, 1978. I spent New Year's there. Anyway, a long story brought somewhat shorter. Many of the people I saw then, okay, some of them I still see now. We got caught in that cycle of going from one shelter, one food program, one mission, and around standing on the corner, a vicious circle. So the Almighty put in my heart, okay, because I had a house, And I remember praying and said, what am I going to do with this? Okay, I'm yours. Everything else I got is yours. Okay, and so I said, the house is yours. Right after that, I began to work for the Guiding Light Mission. And it was in the dead of winter. Okay, remember I started working in January there. There was a guy named Chester. And I had an old pickup truck. And Chester was drunk. And he was raising all kinds of cane up in there. And I said, you can't stay up in here, okay? I can't let you do that, okay? So I had a truck with a capper on it. So I gave him some furniture pads, okay? And I said, go stay in the truck, So he went and got in my truck. And I looked out the window. My whole truck was shaking. He was cold. It was cold. And it wasn't quite as cold as it was last winter, but it was cold. In any case, Almighty put on my heart, you live in that big old house by yourself. And that's how it began. Taking in, bringing folks home. Now, God has taught me a lot in the meantime. You just ain't just sufficient to take somebody in. If you bring a cat in or a pet in, you got to train it. Otherwise, it mess up your house. So I learned over the years what to do. Gainful employment. Now we have our house right now presently contain 8 to 12 folk. And as I said, there are about 3 that are sort of permanent fixtures. Okay, the rest rotate. Okay, and I'm glad for those permanent fixtures too. But the rest get out and get a job. And like I showed you, John, who helped me with this presentation, he has a job. But he appreciated what the Almighty is doing through us. He comes back and he helps. Others come back and donate time. So it really is rewarding work. Money is redirected in more productive areas. Rather than buying an ounce of or liquor or whatever else, okay? Guys now can pay rent, pay child support, be responsible citizens. And our strategy, well, it's sort of plain. Cultivating awareness. Thank you, Dean, for inviting me. Thank you for listening. This is a part of that, making you aware. Tell your friends, by the way, Christ-centered life skills. That means, hey, let your yes be yes, your no be no. Keep your hands in your pocket. You don't smoke on the job. You don't sit down when you ain't supposed to. Okay? Put in an honest, full day's work. Collaborating with partnerships. And hopefully some of you might have a job or some leads to rake or know of a neighbor. Okay? Be a partner. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Don't get too far.
How long do the men normally stay with you before or if they are able to get out on their own?
We ask them to commit to 13 weeks. Okay? That is not a realistic figure. Okay? But if I said a year like Teen Challenge, who would commit? And especially people who get out of prison, they think they get out, and life's not like that. Competition is great. So we have a motto. We don't put anybody out, okay? You get out, okay, you put yourself out by breaking certain rules. We got a whole list of rules. But the average stay required is 13 weeks. Yes?
Are there some, I heard you mention Teen Challenge. Is there some that you've had to send there?
Just reverse.
Reverse?
Just reverse. Okay, I've had, in fact, Courtney, the guy who is our carpenter now, okay, came from Teen Challenge. One, and not to put Teen Challenge down by no means, okay, but one of the things that, how do I say, there's a, one group of people do a certain thing one way, another do it another way. And I don't want greenhouse plants. Greenhouse plants don't do well in the natural society. They just don't, okay? So oftentimes people from Teen Challenge come to us, Oh, by the way, yes, I've had one who now is a director at Teen Challenge. Yes, sorry about that. Yes, okay.
Any other questions? So great. So what Henry does is, you have work that needs to be done around the house. You focus on the cleanup, lawn mowing, snow shoveling. I believe do some scrap as far as pick up scrap metal. The money generated from that is what feeds his company, keeps that going, provides the services for those people.
Yes.
So, with that, we also have a certificate which is framed.
Oh,
So
okay.
present that.
Oh,
Grab
thank
that. Smile.